Alrighty. Histograms are a type of graph that we're going to talk about here, and they're a type of graph that looks very, very similar to a bar graph, but there are some differences in how we count things and how we label things. And so a histogram is something that looks like this, again, similar to a bar graph, but histograms are a type of frequency representation, meaning that they show a count of how often something happens. Okay. The big difference with histograms from any other graph is that they show data in groups, which represent ranges shown by inequalities. So a bar graph, you just have like apples, 1, bananas, 2, right? In a histogram, that's for a bar graph. In a histogram, you will see that our data is in ranges. So like from 1 to 5, there were 3. From 6 to 10, there were 2. Okay? So you're going to see things in ranges, and sometimes those ranges are represented with inequalities or less than or equal to signs. So we're going to work together to build a histogram. This situation is a fourth hour was asked how many hours they spend outside in a week. The data is below. So it has the hours spent outside per week and the frequency or the count of how often that happened. 0 to 5 hours, there were 6 people. 5 to 10 hours, there were 5 people. 10 to 15 hours, there were 3. 15 to 20 hours, there were 4. And 20 to 25 hours, there were 1, and 45 to 50, there was 1, okay? Remember that X is gonna tell us, like, what is it that we're looking for? So this is 15 hours to 20 hours. X is somewhere in between there. So we read it as the lower number to the higher number. My first step in drawing a histogram is to label it. So I'm gonna label it with hours outside, because that is what my data is showing me. Okay. And then I'm going to draw my axes, and I'm going to label my axes to also be. So my y-axis, my up and down axis, is always going to be the frequency. So that's going to be hours. Not hours, sorry. How often? How many people? My thing that I'm counting, the thing that is in groups, is the hours spent outside. So this is going to be my hours. So my first step was to label. My next step is I'm going to mark my groupings. So it looks like I'm counting by 5. 0 to 5. 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, and then we're going to skip a little bit and go from 45 to 50. But each of those groups are the same distance. So I start at 0, and I'm going to have each, well, let's see. I think this should work. 5, 10, yeah. 5, 10, and I'm labeling on the line. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Okay. After I have my frequency, so these are now I'm labeling my axes. And the highest frequency that I go to is 6. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've labeled my axes both with names and with values. Now my job is to transfer in those amounts. Now what we're going to see with histograms is that we are going to take up the entire range that my graph is, or that my data includes. So my hours spent out week was 0 to 5. So my first set of data is going to go from 0 to 5. And the frequency was at 6. So I'm going to draw the line at the top between those sections, 0 to 5. And that is my first, what we call a bin. So my third step is to fill in bins. So from 0 to 5 was 6. I'm going to color mine in. The next set of data was from 5 to 10, and there were 5. And you'll notice it starts at 5, so I don't leave any space. I just go from 5 to 10. This whole width needs to be included, and it happened 5 times that there was data in that amount. Okay. The next set of data is from 10 to 15, and there were 3. So I put a mark at the height of 3. It's as wide as the bin is wide, or as wide as the data. So our hours spent outside, this is what tells us the width of the graph of each bin. Okay. So our x value is telling us the width. The y, or our frequency, is telling us how high up on the graph we're going to go. From 15 to 20, there were 4 pieces of data, or 4 people that were outside from 15 to 20 hours per week. Sorry, that's a little bit funky. Okay. There was 1 person from 20 to 25. And there was 1 person from 45 to 50. Now I'm already noticing that that value seems like an outlier. Because it is way, way, way far away from the rest of our data. And we're not going to take the time right now to look at how to find outliers on histograms. If you are interested, please let me know. Also, now is a good time, if you are listening to the video, please write the word green on a piece of paper and give it to Miss Holmes to show that you were listening to the video. So that is the outlier, and that is a histogram. So our steps are to label the axes, label with the names, then label with the values, and finally that's when we're going to draw the bins or draw our frequency amounts.